In a huge online game called Yggdrasil, the servers are about to shut down. Momonga, the leader of the Eion's Old Gown Guild, enjoys the last moments before the game becomes history. His friend Hiro logs out, leaving Momonga alone as the caretaker of their guild. After the game world is supposed to end, Momonga finds out he can't log out. The NPCs in their guild area at the Great Tomb of Nazarick come to life, turning the game into a real place. Momonga, not bothered by the consequences, plays around with the settings and accidentally makes an NPC named Albedo fall in love with him. Momonga then realizes the NPCs are now alive. He asks Sibaz, the head butler, to check outside, and he sends Albedo to gather the other floor guardians. In the Grand Arena of Nazarick, Momonga has Aura and Mare, two floor guardians, fight a fire elemental he summons. Despite initial hesitations, the siblings warm up to Momonga's leadership. In the Grand Arena, the floor guardians pledge loyalty to Momonga, who reciprocates their loyalty. Momonga reveals Nazarick has moved to a new place from a swampy area to vast grasslands. Sebas returns, confirming the changed landscape. Momonga assigns Albedo and Demiurge to set up an information-sharing system. Seeking their input on hiding Nazarick and giving commands, Momonga teleports back to his throne, leaving the floor guardians impressed by his leadership. Albedo praises Momonga as the last of the 41 supreme beings. This admiration extends to Bloodfallen Schultzir, who's also moved by Momonga's charisma. Demiurge, the strategist, suggests choosing a successor to secure their future in case Momonga leaves. Momonga, thinking about this, leaves room for future considerations. Later, consulting with battlemaid Nerberwol, Momonga undergoes a transformation. Eager to explore the outside world, he decides to go out, but Demiurge, concerned for his safety, insists on joining him. The beauty of the outside world captivates Momonga, and in a casual conversation, he jokingly mentions world domination. Demiurge takes this seriously and prepares for strategic implications. Impressed by Mare's concealment skills, Momonga rewards him with a ring. Albedo, irritated at Mare wearing the ring, receives one herself from Momonga, becoming the overseer of the four guardians. Meanwhile, within Nazarick, a group plans an assault on a frontier village and plots to lure beasts into a trap. In the frontier, Gazef Stronov, a formidable man, discovers a ravaged village with his warrior troops. Determined to send survivors to the capital, Arantel, Gazef's vice captain questions the true motives behind the attack. Meanwhile, Momonga uses the Mirror of Remote Viewing to survey the surroundings. His undead nature initially dissuades him from intervening, but Sibas's distressed expression, reminiscent of a guild member named Touch Me, prompts Momonga to reconsider. Determined to test his powers, Momonga teleports to a besieged village and saves a young girl. Delegating the task to a death knight, he watches as Albedo unexpectedly aids him, though her dislike for humans is evident. Healing the villagers, Momonga, disguised with a mask, introduces himself as Eion's Old Gown, concealing his undead appearance. Extracting information about the new world from the village chief, he is interrupted by Gazef's arrival. Wearing the mask to hide his true identity, Eion's Old Gown reveals his role in protecting the village to Gazef. Grateful, the village is then surrounded by mysterious figures. Megan of the Sunlight Scripture is tasked with killing Gazef Stronov. In the present, Gazer asks for Eion's Old Gown's help in defending the village. Developing respect for Gazef, Eion's Old Gown agrees, leaving a mysterious souvenir with him. In the battle, Gazef faces overwhelming odds. In a critical moment, Gazef warns the enemy leader of a greater force, but it's dismissed as a bluff. The souvenir activates, transporting Gazef and his men back to the village, revealing that Eion's Old Gown and Albedo intervened. Arriving on the battlefield, Eion's Old Gown gives the enemies a chance to surrender. Ignoring the warning, the enemy leader summons a powerful angel, the Dominion Authority. Disappointed by its apparent strength, Eion's Old Gown becomes enraged when it scratches him. Calming Albedo, he obliterates the angel with a black hole, forcing the enemies to face the consequences and meet their end. With the threat gone, Albedo witnesses her master's prowess with admiration. Returning home, Eion's Old Gown officially adopts the guild's name and instructs his subordinates to spread his name across the new world. Misinterpreting Eion's Old Gown's words, his cute floor guardians think he wants to conquer the world. When Albedo reports to him, Schultzer enters, causing the usual conflict with Albedo. She tells Eion's Old Gown about her upcoming mission and expresses her regards. Eion's Old Gown and the formidable battlemaid Nemeril disguise themselves as adventurers and infiltrate the capital city of Arantel. In a bar confrontation, Eion's Old Gown defeats a lagoon, accidentally breaking a lady's potion and compensating her with a red one. In their room, Nemeril expresses her dislike for humans as they plan to explore the new world as adventurers. Deciding to use aliases, Maman and Name, they try to secure jobs at the Adventurers Guild. Meanwhile, the girl who received the potion takes it to a shop, where it's identified as exceptional. Back at the Adventurers Guild, Maman and Nabe join the Swords of Darkness for a quest. However, their plans change when someone requests Mamon's help. Now tasked with escorting Nefreya Beret to Karn Village, the same village Eion's old gowns saved earlier, they alter their course. On the journey, they are attacked, but Maman and Nabe handle the threat with ease, showcasing their strength. The Swords of Darkness realize they're in the company of extraordinary individuals, with Nabe's sharp insults causing a mix of reactions. Gathering around a campfire, sharing tales of their adventures, Maimon reminisces about his former companions. When the idea of a future reunion comes up, irritation flashes in Maimon's eyes, and he abruptly leaves the campfire. Nabe follows, leading the others to suspect that Maimon's former comrades might be gone. Despite the sense of guilt, they find common ground in acknowledging Maimon's exceptional strength, comparing him to an adamantine-level adventurer. In Irantel, the two mysterious individuals, previously seen planning a ritual, are busy preparing undead minions to seize control of the city. Clementine awaits Nefreya Beret, currently with Maimon and the others, to return to the capital. Maimon and his party reach Karn Village, welcomed by the woman saved by Eins. The village is protected by a goblin troop summoned using the horn of the goblin general gifted by Eins. Unaware that Maimon is actually Eins, she recounts Eins' heroic deeds, leading Nefreya to suspect Maimon's true identity. Maimon cautions Nefreya to keep it a secret, and they set out to gather herbs for Nefreya's workshop. While en route to tame the rumored wise king of the forest, Maimon easily subdues a monstrous wild hamster, naming him Himsuk. Deciding to keep protecting Karn Village instead of allowing Nefreya to join their party, Maimon surprises everyone with his abilities. Awkward interactions follow, and the team eventually returns to Irantel. As the Swords of Darkness help with the herbs, Maimon and Nabe register Himsuk as a member. Unfortunately, Clementine appears at Nefreya's residence, poised to abduct him, setting the stage for a new conflict. In a harrowing turn of events, the Swords of Darkness attempt to protect Nefreya, but are brutally slain by Clementine, creating a nightmare for all involved. Meanwhile, back at the Adventurers Guild, Nefreya's grandmother guides Maimon and Nabe to their house, only for them to discover the lifeless bodies of their former comrades turned into zombies. Unable to save their former comrades, Maimon is forced to end their suffering. Determined to uncover the source of the tragedy, Maimon proposes to Nefreya's grandmother to hire him and Nabe to retrieve her grandson. She agrees, and Maimon tasks Nabe with finding his location. The investigation reveals a massive undead army near the cemetery. Maimon urgently informs the grandmother to warn everyone, as the undead horde aims to breach the capital's gates. Arriving at the scene, Maimon and Nabe swiftly handle the undead threat, moving on to confront the masterminds. Maimon instructs Nabe to deal with Khajiit while he faces Clementine. Both engagements are one-sided, with Hamsuk on standby. Khajiit, boasting resistance to 6th-tier magic, faces destruction when confronted by Nabe's 7th-tier magic. In a shocking twist, Clementine retaliates by stabbing both of Maimon's eyes, revealing his true identity as an undead overlord. Seizing the opportunity, Maimon verbally dismantles Clementine, exposing her defeat at the hands of a magic caster who never used magic. Crushing her body, Maimon orchestrates a brutal demise for Clementine, rescuing Nefreya and thwarting the ominous ritual. Back in the kingdom, Maimon and Nabe are rightfully promoted for their heroic deeds, though Maimon is disappointed for not reaching the coveted Ortalian rank. Before they discuss this, Albedo contacts them with shocking news. Shaltir and Bloodfallen have gone rogue. The scene shifts back in time to Sebas and Solution Epsilon, disguised as nobles from the Baharth Empire, staying at an inn. Their human slave betrays them to a mercenary group, leading to a disturbance outside. Sebas and Solution take a carriage ride to rendezvous with Shaltir and her vampire companions. During their casual conversation, a group aided by the former human slave interrupts their ride. Shaltir swiftly dispatches the attackers, going after the bandits, while Sebas and Solution return to the capital for more information. Shaltir reaches a cave and meets a man named Brian Unglaus. After a challenge and ridicule, Shaltir, in her true vampire form, goes on a brutal killing spree, massacring bandits. During her rampage, she encounters a group of adventurers, including the woman who received the red potion from Maimon. Intrigued, Shaltir hypnotizes her, inquiring about the potion. Satisfied, she spares the woman's life, but is displeased as another adventurer might have fled. Summoning vampire wolves to pursue, they are slain by the Black Scripture. Shaltir confronts a new adversary, a group of adventurers who take control of her mind. Back in Nazarick, Eins realizes Shaltir's rebellion is due to mind control. Monitoring her situation, he receives a report from Nabe about the Adventurers Guild summoning him. Maimon attends the meeting, preparing for challenges. In Irantel, 3 adventurers arrive to deal with the vampire. Mayman concocts a story, claiming familiarity with a vampire and expressing his intent to handle the situation alone. He reveals a crystal enabling 7th-tier magic, making it clear he seeks solitary resolution. Most accept Mayman's words, but Ajavarj insists on accompanying him. Mayman reluctantly agrees and orchestrates Ajavarj and his team's demise en route, eliminating interference. Then comes Shaltir. Albedo and Ainz approach her, with Ainz attempting to undo the mind control using his magic ring. Failing, Ainz swiftly transports them to safety. Albedo questions this choice, but Ainz, perturbed by the failure, explains it was due to a world item causing the mind control. They decide to retrieve world items from their treasury. Accompanied by Yuri Alpha, they navigate communication difficulties with Pandora's actor, the guardian of the treasury. Ultimately, they secure the ring of Ainz's old gown from the treasury, exchanging Albedo's ring for Yuri. Entering the mausoleum, Ainz and Albedo see golden statues of each supreme being, created by Ainz as a memorial. Ainz hints at a future statue of himself, triggering sentimentality in Albedo, who implores him to stay forever. Ainz, non-committal, suggests Albedo lead and protect Nazarick if he ever departs. Concerning Shaltir, Ainz decides to face her alone. Albedo pleads against this, but Ainz, driven by responsibility for his subordinates, remains resolute. Arriving at the site with Aura and Mare, Ainz instructs the siblings to scout and ensure no one else interferes in the impending confrontation with Shaltir. In Nazarick, protagonists secure world items. Meanwhile, the strategist Demiurge returns to the stronghold. In the presence of Albedo and Cositis, he queries them about the unfolding events. Criticizing Albedo for allowing Ainz to venture alone, Demiurge expresses concern about potential risks and the possibility of an elaborate trap. Deciding to pursue the lone operative, he is halted by Cositis, whose duty is to ensure no interference occurs. On another front, Ainz approaches Sheoder, who stands enigmatically in the middle of nowhere. Ainz tests the limits of Sheoder's abilities with enhancement spells. The confrontation intensifies as Sheoder dons her Valkyrie armor, unleashing formidable attacks. Both combatants clash, with Sheoder gaining the upper hand. Ainz unveils a trump card, summoning Einherjar, a body double that amplifies Sheoder's assault. Despite overcoming the double, Ainz faces a mana drain. In a final blow, Sheoder pierces Ainz with a world item, draining his HP. As they hear a beat from Ainz's watch, he declares the battle's conclusion. Suddenly activating an immensely powerful magic spell, Ainz places Sheoder at the center. Unwilling to be a mere observer, she attempts a final strike but is thwarted midway by a spell from Aura, leaving her vulnerable to Ainz's devastating attack. As Sheoder begins to fade, acknowledging her defeat, Ainz returns to Nazarick to prepare for a resurrection ritual. Despite lingering caution about potential mind control, Ainz resurrects Sheoder. Her memory is wiped of the last 5 days, and curiously, her breast pads are missing. While others express irritation at her seemingly misplaced priorities, Ainz nostalgically reflects on his former guild members' camaraderie. Assuring everyone not to be concerned, Ainz takes responsibility for the recent events. Despite this, the fact that one of their own fell victim to mind control reveals a formidable foe threatening Nazarick. Though not thrilled, Ainz urges the strengthening of their forces. Albedo reports a great lake inhabited by lizard men, sparking discussions on how to address this new challenge. As time passes, Sibas continues his quest for information. Nabi accompanies Nefreya and her grandmother to Karn village. Meanwhile, at the Adventurers Guild, Momon's team, known as Darkness, achieves the pinnacle of success by attaining the coveted rank of Adamantine, the highest achievable rank. And with that, the chapter concludes.